Teg replied to my comment about feeling nervous about going on a date. Do you two ever just want to have dates at the castle? We do all the time, but we both haven't been out in so long. My tone took on a hint of complaint, but as far as I was concerned, I had every right to feel freed from my castle. Rooksmont had been willed to me by the late Miss Caroline Bain, who had once been one of 3 women serving as the goddess Morgan, and now occupied my consciousness along with the other 2. She was also a distant family member, since she was the cousin of my great-great-aunt. The castle she'd left to me was spacious, and had much I still needed to explore, but being in it all day, every day, was starting to make me feel cramped. The last time I had been out was when I'd gone to a charity event, and ended up in a battle against a bunch of fishmen controlled by a priest performing ritual magic with a pipe. This date, I hoped, wouldn't be anything like it. The English countryside gradually began to fade away as we passed more populated places and came into the city. At last, Teg pulled up in front of the predetermined restaurant. Simon Lorne was standing just outside with a soft smile and excitement shining in his eyes. He wore a grey suit that made his tan complexion, neat facial hair, and round glasses appear more endearing to me. I'll see you two when you're done, Teg said as I stepped out of the car. I smiled. Thank you for this, Teg. You're the best. While I was on a date, Teg was still working. There were many days where I remained at Rooksmont, promising to not leave the protection of the stone walls, so Teg could have dates with his wife. Hello, Ange, Simon greeted me when I stepped out of the car. He took my hand in his and kissed my cheek as I stepped up to him. How was your day? Oh, you know, all the details of running a philanthropic trust rattling around in my brain still. I smiled. But I'm putting all of that aside tonight. This is for us. I want some wine. Simon's brows rose. You must really need to relax then. He chuckled, knowing I wasn't much of a person for alcohol, and that keeping up with the needs of Gran and Meiran had me drinking more than my fair share. He took my hand and placed it in the crook of his arm. We entered the restaurant. I was used to eyes turning to me the instant I came into a room by this point, thanks to the Way of Kings. However, walking in with Simon felt different in a good way. Eyes eventually turned to him as well, and I imagined the thoughts of the onlookers being along the lines of, they're a wonderful-looking couple. Oh, stop being vain, Ange, I told myself. Even as this thought entered my mind, a man from the waiting staff came up to us and, looking a little flustered, asked where we would like to be seated. Simon glanced at me. This wasn't a place where patrons were usually asked where they wanted to sit. Top floor with a good view would be wonderful, I replied. The male waiter flushed and nodded, then selected our menus and scurried up the stairs to the next floor. Simon gave me a questioning look, but I just smiled, shrugged, and climbed the stairs. A few minutes later, a second member of the waiting staff approached us. It was a woman this time, but she appeared just as flustered as the previous waiter. She asked us what wine we would like, and Simon selected his favorite for us. She didn't look at him at all. Her eyes were fastened to me, even as she nodded and left. Once she was gone, Simon gave me a long look over his menu. I couldn't resist smiling at him. What? He shrugged. I don't know, Ange. This place doesn't seem short-staffed this evening, so it can't be the stress making them act like that. Like what? I pressed. Simon sighed but maintained his smile. Every time anyone looks at you, they blush and can't figure out how to speak. Well, maybe I'm just extra irresistible tonight, I returned with a grin. I can't imagine why I'm not having the same effect on you. Simon smiled and reached for my hand. You do look irresistible, Ange. Don't mistake me. He laughed. But I've just begun realizing that happens a lot. What happens a lot? I knew what he meant, but I wanted to see how much he had noticed. Simon waved in the general direction of the waiting staff. Strangers reacting so strongly to you. It's like you have some pull or power over them. He winked. Or some magic. He was teasing me, but he wasn't wrong. My heart sank.